What's going on, y'all? Jesus with Corpus Christi Originals Podcast. In this episode, we have Gino Montalvo as our guest. Gino talks about, have a conversation about real estate and finances, financial future, stuff involving our culture and finances and real estate. And I asked him some general questions about real estate, the industry. And anyway, if this is something you want to listen to, stay tuned to the podcast. All right, welcome to the podcast, Gino.
Hello, sir. Happy Tuesday. I forgot what day it was.
Yeah, I work a 6-2 schedule, so sometimes I don't know what day it is either.
I feel you, man. I feel you. So thank you for having me on. I appreciate you. I'm driving in the car, so forgive me if occasionally looking left and right and being safe on the road.
It's all good, bro. Hey, which schools did you go to in Corpus?
So when I grew up, I went to Luther Jones when it was brand new, the Mighty Marlins, right there on Yorktown. And then I actually moved away before middle school started for me. And I went to San Antonio and I went to some schools up there and then came back my senior year. So it was like in the movies where like the new kid comes back to the school. They're like, who's that guy? They're like, I don't know. And I graduated from Carroll High School.
Oh, that's what's up, bro. How do you feel about Carroll moving somewhere else?
Man, it's cool. I saw a sentimental post the other day from someone that's a teacher there that I guess they had a reunion where they're there in the senior wing and they were saying kind of goodbye. It's the last, I didn't realize it's the last school year for Carroll right now until they go into the new building, and the new one looks amazing. So it's kind of cool to see a school be redone completely. The other ones kind of just get like additions, some portables. I had a lot of portable classes, man. So I know what it feels like to just be pushed out to the back. So this is kind of nice to have just a brand new thing for a lot of great kids moving to the area.
Dude, that's what's up, man. So you have a wife and 2 kids.
I have a wife, 2 kids, a boy and a girl. My little boy is about to be 8, a little computer hacker, and then a little girl who's 10, about to be 18, if you know how that goes. She is just, kids grow up so fast compared to like when we were little. Like when I was 10, 8, I was just like picking my nose, playing outside with Legos, maybe had a Nintendo. And now they're like TikToking and shopping online. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah. So do you read up on kids? Stuff like that? Yeah, I got kids. I got my son is going to be 2. My daughter is 6.
What's the spread?
She's going to be 7.
6?
The spread between them? Yeah, no, it's 4 years. Yeah, I have 2 kids.
That's a good little break.
Yeah, 4 year difference. Mm-hmm.
I freak out when people tell me they have like, I have 3 kids, and then it's like too close together, then one's like 12 years apart. I'm like, whoa. I was like, okay. No, thank you. I'm not trying to do that. We're done.
So yeah, my daughter helps out with my son a little bit as much as she can. She's only so older, you know.
That's good, man. That's cool. I'm trying to get them to play more together. I'm like, we had kids so y'all can play together. Come on.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, so your main thing right now is real estate. So how long have you been a full-time real estate agent in the Corpus Christi market?
For sure. So I'm pushing on 10 years. 5 of those years I was still doing the radio over there at iHeartRadio, doing the morning show. And so for 5 years I was doing radio plus real estate. I would get off the air, go do real estate all day, wake up early, go back to the same thing every single day for a long time. And then it got to the point where, I had to pick one to go 100%. And for me, I enjoyed real estate a lot more. It was just one of those things where I got more fulfillment out of it. And of course, pays a lot different. It was able to help me grow my family and do things I never thought possible, pay off a whole lot of debt, which is the whole reason why I started real estate. I opened up too many credit cards, too many student loans, just didn't care, didn't understand it. And so I needed a way to kind of get myself above water. So with that, like I said, I made the decision 5 years ago to full on 100% real estate, never look back.
That's what's up, bro. So do you feel like you have a better handle on your money now, like as far as paying off your debt?
I think one of those things that I never knew before, and I think a lot of people go through this, especially when we're helping clients go through the process of buying a home. I just didn't understand it. And that was the honest truth. I didn't understand money or budgeting. It was things I was never taught when I was little. It was cool to have 30 credit cards in my name, like going to Kohl's and open a credit card, go to Macy's and saving 10%, going to you name it. And I had a credit card there. I was like, yeah. And I think that's one of those things that if you kind of look the way things are now, it used to be cool. and a sign of luxury that you had so many credit cards open. It's like, wow. And now it's like, oh, you don't know how to handle money, huh? You got 70 credit cards. That's why your debt to income ratio is all messed up. And it's the truth. And that's what I enjoy about real estate is, like I said, I used to be in that big hole where I couldn't get out of it. I just felt suffocated. And whenever we help people go through the process of buying homes, it's unbelievable how people don't realize when you go through the process of prepping yourself and saving and cutting all the bullshit out, it really makes it easy to go, oh, yeah, I can totally afford this house. I just cut out all these bills that were stacking up with really high interest. You kind of go like on a financial diet. And then after it's all done, it's like, oh, this is kind of nice. I didn't realize this was possible. But it takes having that goal or having like that carrot in front of you going, all right, this is what I want. So I got to do these things. That's what's really fun when people realize that.
It's cool. So do you find yourself like do you find yourself helping people in that sense whenever they come to you to buy a house or sell a house?
Yes. So there's families and there's clients that are going on like 9-10 years with me. Like there were some of my very first clients that trusted me, listened to me, even when I was still learning the process, even when I was still learning a whole lot of stuff. You never stop learning this business and just money. And so they're still there. They're still helping me. They're still sending me referrals, and they're on their third, fourth, fifth house or investment properties where they listened and they trusted me on the first one, because me too. I had to trust somebody when I first started buying, and it was my realtor, who just so happens to be my cousin. I listened to him, and he said, buy this house, do this, do that. I'm like, all right, man, I like where you're at. I respect where you're at. It's where I want to be, so I'm going to listen to you. And I think a lot of people that have seen me grow over the years are like, yeah, like I want to do that. What did you do? And I'm very open about it. I'm like, here's exactly what I did. And then now I get to see their success. I get to see them get out of debt. I get to see them go, hey, we're ready for a new house. Especially the last couple of years where things have been really crazy with jobs and the pandemic and things shutting down. Right at the beginning, there was a lot of people who, made some smart moves and bought in 2020, for example, and the market's gone up so much that they're turning around and selling and making a profit going, wow, I'm glad I just got in the game. Sometimes that's what it's all about. It's just getting in the game and not looking back.
Right, man, for sure. So is there a right time to buy a house? I guess for the individual.
Yeah, for sure. So people always ask, like, when's the best time to buy a house? And for me, it really just depends on the person. It depends on your financial situation. It depends on if you've been saving. If you have too much on your plate, then yeah, sometimes it's not the right time for people. Like I won't say, oh, it's the right time now for everybody. Needs to buy now. Bro, right. I get it. There's some people that are like, hey, I'm trying to scrounge that $500 to pay the water bill, or hey, I'm behind on this, or I'm da-da-da-da. Like, obviously, if you're not in a position financially to do it, I'd say, hey, don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't get yourself in over your head, because there's a lot of people that maybe get bad advice. And they're like, well, my realtor told me just to buy anytime. It's always good. It's like, it might always be good in the sense that real estate is always appreciating up, but like I said, if you're not ready to go, it's like trying to play a game and you're trying to play basketball and you're all hurt. It's like, just play no matter what. It's like, well, dude, my hip hurts. Like, I'm going to break it. Same thing with real estate. If you haven't saved up, if you haven't really, figured out everything you need to figure out, got all the information you needed to get, then yeah, it's definitely easy to get in over your head if you're just not even questioning, hey, what am I doing? How does this loan work? Or what's my interest rate? Or what kind of loan is this? Or hey, did I save up enough? It can really end up hurting you in the end if you're not ready to get in. So I would say anytime's good to buy real estate if you're ready. And if you're not ready, then you got to get yourself ready.
Would you say that having or buying a house is an indicator of wealth?
I think that if you look at anybody in America or even other countries that is wealthy, a huge majority of them have gotten there because of real estate. And here's why. As you grow up and you start doing things and you realize, like, okay, I got to get my own place. Maybe you live with your family for a long time and you get your own place and you start renting. There's only so many things in your life that you're going to spend money on that are going to appreciate. Of course, appreciate means that it's going to be worth more over time, be it comic books or baseball cards or collector cars or just one-of-a-kind things. There's only so many things that we can spend money on as we grow up. You start spending money on cars, you start spending money on vacations, you start spending money on just the newest phone or rims or whatever it is, right? Going out of town, bar tabs. None of that brings money back at the end, especially when you start paying for apartments and, like I said, rent. You got to live somewhere, right? If you're not living with family crashing on the couch or couch surfing, you got to pay to live somewhere. It's just a necessity. But as you start going over time, you realize, okay, I'm spending money, but nothing I'm spending this money on is giving me money at the end of it. I can't go and sell that vacation photo. I can't go and sell my car. Maybe now because the market's a little weird for cars, but most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, there's not really a whole lot of appreciating assets except real estate. It's one of the only things that does that, mostly because God's not making any more land. So when you go buy a property, it's there. It takes a while for anything else to kind of pop up that's similar. And so over time, because of that supply and demand, it appreciates. So it's one of those easy ways that people can accumulate wealth if they just get in and wait. I had a post a couple of days ago where we said we had an out-of-state buyer who was looking to spend 150 cash, and without going into details, I just said, hey, I have a buyer. He wants to spend 150,000 cash. He needs to spend it by next week, like this Friday. And what do y'all have? And the reason when I say stuff like that is I know some people might have properties that either their parents had, grandparents, they inherited it, or maybe it needs a whole lot of work. They haven't been able to do it. One of the comments said, hey, serious question, like real talk, how do people get money like that? Because I can't scrounge up $500. That's why I used that quote a while ago. And I said, the honest truth is this person sold real estate, and that's how they were able to get those funds. They had a piece of property for several years. They sold, they made 150,000 plus. However, they needed to use it to go into another property. That way it's tax free. Right. And so they're like, oh, I told them it's the honest truth. They and other people need to look into appreciating assets, which is real estate, stocks, crypto, other things that can grow over time. Most things don't. And so when you finally flip that switch and you realize, okay, the money I'm spending can either be spent, saved, because even now with inflation, that's just going down the drain too. It's like, wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute, I left money in the bank and now it's worth less. You have to figure out, how can I put this money somewhere where it's going to bring it back to me? Once you figure that out, and you start doing it again and again and again, it's like a snowball. It starts to just keep growing and growing and growing, where soon enough you're like, my house is, there's plenty of times, and I love this feeling when I get to tell someone your house is worth this much. If you sell today, here's how much you can make. They're like, what? Like, some people just don't look at that stuff. I look at that stuff all the time. Most people just go on with their daily lives. They're living, they got kids, they got family, they got vacations, they got all the different things going on. They're like, what? It doesn't make any sense the first time around. But then after that, it's like they get addicted. And I have clients go, all right, this is getting a lot easier. Let's just keep going. Let's keep doing it.
So would you say that we don't would you say that we want that right now instead of waiting for it to actually happen?
For
You know what I
sure.
mean?
For sure. I did an article a while back for the Washington Post because they saw me on some list. It was like top Hispanic realtors, right? And so it was very cool. I got to pick the clients that I wanted to have the focus on, and it was my clients Rudy and Jennifer, and I've been helping them. They're one of those ones I was talking about. We've helped them several times, and I told the Washington Post that, in our culture, like Hispanics, at least here in South Texas, we grew up knowing grandma lived in the same house her whole life, 20, 30 years. Mom and dad maybe moved around a little bit, but in reality, they had the same example I'm talking about. Their parents lived in the same house. And I'm sure everyone, and you included, know somebody, our grandparents that are up in age, that have been in the same house for a very, very long time. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's unfortunate that, things haven't been passed down in some families, that, hey, here's what you can do with real estate. We were just taught, hey, you buy a house and you live there. You got a 30-year mortgage. Like, 30 years, I got to be here forever. And that's what kind of the only thing people really know about real estate. It's like, oh, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
get a loan for 30 years, and I guess I got to keep it for 30 years. And you don't. You can grow that wealth. You can grow that appreciation, that equity, and roll it into different properties or different things if you
Mm-hmm.
get in the game early. And a lot of people aren't taught that just because they weren't taught that. Our family wasn't taught that. And so now, with so much information out there, it's almost kind of irresponsible to not realize, oh, there's ways to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Before, they weren't talking about it. I couldn't really go to the library and learn this stuff. But with YouTube and TikTok and Twitter and you name it, there's so many people out there giving free information that it's like, oh, I get it now. Mom and dad didn't get this, but I get it now.
Right on. Yeah, I totally agree, man. Like sometimes you don't know where to go, who to listen to, and there's so many.
Mm-hmm.
and then it takes a while for money to grow. It's like if you listen to them
Sure.
now, dang, it can be totally misleading, especially for the people in our culture, you know.
Yeah, it's like, no, that like, how do you say it? Like in our culture, if someone's doing well, you think, nah, what are they doing? They're doing drugs. Are they dealing? What are
Hmm.
they doing? Like, they're doing something illegal. It's like, no, because they just don't understand it. I was the same way. I had a cousin who, again, who's my broker and my realtor. He's always helped me over the years, and we're best friends. But when we first started getting into business together 10 years ago, he would tell me things the same way I'm sure people tell their coworkers and friends, hey, yeah, I'm buying a house, or hey, I'm doing this. They're like, you sure about that? I've heard this, and that. It's always something negative, right? It's like the crab in the bucket. Like you just don't want them to get out. You're like, no, get back down here with us. And he would tell me
Yeah.
things. He would tell me things, and I wouldn't believe it. And it wasn't that I didn't believe it. I just didn't understand it. The same way, like you can go to
Mhm.
another country and someone will speak a different language. It doesn't make any sense at all. But if you learn the language and you speak it and you know it, then it all clicks. It's the same thing with finances, same thing with money, it's the same thing with real estate. Anything that wasn't necessarily pushed into our heads in school,
Mhm.
it's things that they're not going to make sense. It's going to sound like a different language, but once you learn it, it all starts clicking, 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 and then you realize it's all around you, from the apartment you live in, the rental you live in, the commercial building you walk in, developments all around you for new restaurants and water parks, and just everything around you involves real estate. Without thinking about it, you're like, oh yeah, it is all around us, so might as well
Mhm.
get in, right?
So do you think past your lifetime to your kids' lifetime, like what you can give to them, like do you think about
Oh
that?
yeah. And you know what? And that's why I asked you if you had kids too. And I do a lot of engaging posts on my Facebook. It's just like the radio guy in me, like, hey guys, what band's better, Megadeth or Metallica? And you get a million people calling to voice their opinion. It's just like an easy clickbait kind of thing. And so for
Mm.
me, I do it so that way I can have discussions with people, I can engage them, I can ask questions. And one of the ones, it was like, would you rather have? This is like a question that just blew up, right? Would you rather
Mhm.
have an 850 credit score right now, B, $3 million, or C, $5,000 a week? And it was amazing to me how many people didn't pick the $3 million instantly, and how many people
Mm.
picked the credit score, and how many people picked the $5,000 a week. And the first thing I thought of, this is just the way I think, was, wait, why are you going to pick the $5,000 a week? Because what if you die next week? And everyone's like, oh, we don't know that. I'm like, yeah, but that's real life. That's why there's
Mhm.
insurance plans. That's why you can get life insurance for $20 a month, and you don't have to sell, and no offense, but it's honest truth, you don't have to sell plates, barbecue plates, to pay for a funeral. And people don't
Mm.
think that way because, like we talked about a while ago, they want the instant gratification. They don't want to look ahead. But the point of what I'm trying to say is some of the comments made me really think that people don't think the way I think, and I get it. When they said, oh, I
Mhm.
don't want to pass down anything to anybody. There's no one I want to pass down anything to anybody. I'm like, oh, damn, I don't feel that way. Like, if
Mhm.
I'm not here, the first thing I want to make sure is the people that were left behind that love me, that I was taking care of, are going to be okay. That's the
Mhm.
honest truth. And so, whatever way I can do that, I'm going to do that. But a lot of people don't think that way. They just think about
Mhm.
themselves. Even if they do have someone, they don't think about the loved ones around them.
Wow, man, that's good stuff. Yeah, I'm on that track where I'm just thinking about my kids. Man, I had a question in my mind. So, did you learn to have that thought process like along the way, or did somebody teach you that? Uh,
I think a lot was, my dad passed away in 2000, like the very beginning in 2017, right? And so when my
Mhm.
dad passed away, I was already reaching a point for myself where I felt very comfortable financially, and my mom was in a position the same way. Even with all the struggles we had growing up, we finally reached a point where we were comfortable. But I think, man, what if that would have happened 5 years prior or 10 years prior? It would have
Mhm.
sent me down a spiral because I didn't have myself set up, and my mom wasn't set up. None of us would have been able to keep on going just because of the lifestyle we were living. It's just with my dad not being there, it wouldn't have been possible. And so
Mhm.
now the way I see it was because of that, because I realized when you lose a parent, you're like, wow, I'm not invincible. The person that I thought was invincible is no longer here. So that means
Wow.
it's just as easy for me to disappear one day. And so you start living like, YOLO, like I stopped living like
Mhm.
that. And I started thinking, okay, I like the life we live. I like the life I've created, the comfortability I've created for my family. I don't
Mhm.
want anything to happen to me, and then, I don't know what's going to happen to them. They're not going to be taken care of. That was my biggest fear, is like, wow, like I could just get in a car accident, or I could just have a heart attack or a stroke. And you see these stories, and especially the last 2 years, where so many people and loved ones have passed because of COVID and just other, things. It's like, it's really eye opening. There was a period where I remember in like towards the middle or end of 2020, where it seemed like every other day someone on Facebook was posting about a loved one passing. It was almost weird. Like sadly, you would get immune to the post. It's like, wow, like every 2 days, someone that, not that necessarily that you know them, but just people that you associate yourselves with, were losing people left and right. And I'm sure it opened up a lot of eyes for people. Like, okay, wow, this is real, one. And two, life is so precious. Like, it could end at any second. And here we are worrying about bullshit.
No kidding, bro. Golly. It's more than just right here, right now. And man, for
Yeah.
sure, dude. It's like
And it's
everybody's
hard.
living
It's
for
really hard to
Friday.
think that way. You know what? It's really hard to think that way. It's hard to think the opposite. For, like I said, for me, I look at posts that pop up on my Facebook timeline of things that I said, and I'm like, what an idiot. Like, it's nobody's fault. Everyone has that point in their life where they just realize something, they lie to themselves. It's like me with my diet. I know I need to lose weight, but I don't do it because I love food. And so I realize it's going to probably take some scary ass thing to happen. God forbid, it's going to take some scary ass thing to happen to me and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to go for a jog. And
Yeah,
that's
man.
everybody, man. It's sad. It's everybody. We all do that. We're all human.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's like you had one area you got good down, and but I still got to work on this. But I still got to work on that, and then it's, I don't know, like you said.
It's one thing or the other, man. That's just life.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, it's always something.
yeah, exactly, man. Um, so how many homes do you close on each year? Close means like
So
to sell a house, right?
close a home means that transaction went from point A to point B, Z, whatever you want to call it. And the last couple of years, since 2019, we've set a record for ourselves every single year, pushing and pushing and pushing. Last year was our biggest year. We did 175 homes. And so
Wow.
we closed 175 homes in the coastal bend. That's 175, times two, I guess, if you think of each side of the transaction. That's just the home. So it's like almost 300 plus families that moved or
Wow.
sold or bought that we were able to help because, a while back, I had this number in my head because I was doing real estate and I was doing radio, but I thought I need to do more to that way I could focus on one or the other, which I started thinking, how do I do more but do less, if that makes any sense? Like any other business. It's like when you open up a restaurant, the owner is not bussing, he's not hosting, he's not the waiter. I mean, he knows how to do all those things, but a smart businessman hires someone for all those different positions, so that way his time is best spent whatever he's good at. So for me, my time best spent is engaging, bringing in new clients, answering questions, putting out fires, using my experience to help agents underneath me go through transactions that I've been in similar circumstances, saying, hey, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. And that's what a lot of people freak out. And when you hear horror stories from real estate, it's more than likely because the people they were dealing with didn't have a lot of experience, and shit hit the fan and they don't know what to do. And so for me, it's true. For me, I was like, I got to do as many transactions as possible, so when someone has a problem, I know how to fix it, and I don't say, I don't know, I'm not sure what to do there. So yeah, so this year we're on our way. I want to do 200. I'm really going for 200.
Dude, that's what's up. So, is there people? Is there like an influx of people coming in from other states? Do you see that?
Yes, still, it started in 2020. I think in 2020 we had the most cash transactions that we had ever seen on just the
Wow.
regular retail side. What I mean
Hmm.
by that is there's retail and there's wholesale. Wholesale is stuff that's done off the market. It's just like wholesalers, it's investors from other places or big companies that are buying things cash, and it never hits the market. And then there's retail, which is stuff that you see on Zillow, realtor.com, people posting on Facebook. I never seen so much retail be purchased cash. It was almost like people were liquidating themselves from other states whenever pandemic started and said, hey, let's go somewhere where it's a lot cheaper, we don't have to pay federal tax. So people from the West Coast and the East Coast started coming down because there's just, one, as far as finances, is better laws here in Texas, and two, the real estate, it's like a fraction, like a third or a fourth the price of what they could get or sorry, they can get 4 times more here in Texas for a fourth of the price, if that makes any sense.
Amazing.
And so that's what people started doing. It started coming down, and yeah, a lot of people from other states. And so the hard part about that is, one, I'm from here. I want to help as many people as possible that live here. But two,
Mm.
if there's other buyers coming in that are ready and prepared, then hey, I got to get my people ready and prepared too. So that's why I try to put so much out there. Like, hey, if you're not going to buy it, someone is, and it's going to
Mm.
be like that in all aspects of life. If you're not doing it, someone else will. And if you don't get on the ball, someone else right now has saved more money than you. Someone else right now has gotten their credit where it needs to be better than you. Someone right now is not complaining and dealing with what everybody else is dealing with and just figuring it out. They're not making excuses. So if you just keep making excuses, someone else who isn't is going to get ahead of you. And it's the honest truth.
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's like we're full of ideas, and if we don't act upon ones that are, I mean, just ideas,
Yeah.
if we don't take risks, you know what I mean?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. So you have a team. You keep mentioning a team. Are
Yeah.
all of y'all just, yeah, go ahead. You want to explain some of that a little bit?
So yeah, so a realtor, for most people, they have an idea of a realtor, right? It's usually the stereotype is like it's a guy in a business suit, or it's a lady in a pantsuit, and she's doing open houses on the weekend, and she's handing out flyers, and she's got magnets on her car. It's like the stereotype of what a realtor is, right? Obviously, I don't look like a realtor. I look like a guy that owns
Yeah.
a pawn shop. And so for me,
Or a
whenever I
tattoo
first
shop.
started, yeah, so I get pawn shop and tattoo shops a lot. So for me, when I first started, I wanted to help as many people as possible. I flipped a switch on my social media. People knew who I was from the radio, but I was like, you know what?
Mhm.
Hey, I'm glad y'all trust me enough to help you with this process. I've been through it a couple of times. I know what makes a good transaction and a bad transaction. So as I started doing it, I started helping more people and more people. But it got to a point where I wasn't able to help more people anymore. It was like I kind of got hit a plateau, if you want to say that,
Wow.
where I knew I can only handle so many at a time. But I had people coming in asking me questions or needing help, and I knew I physically couldn't do it all myself. And so there's two things I could have done. One, I could have just said, hey guys, I'm sorry, I'm really busy right now, which sounds kind of crappy, right? It's like, oh, sorry guys, I'm too busy. They're like, well, blank you. And or two, I had to figure out a way, how do I help more people? That way I can make sure anybody that approaches me, that one, I'm going to take care of them, and two, they're going to tell their friends, yeah, like, he seems really busy, but he's taking care of everybody. Kind of like having a great restaurant, like I mentioned a while ago. I always use analogies of like different businesses. If you have a really great restaurant, but you're limited seating and you're just one guy in the back, you can only serve so many people. So no matter how good your service is, no matter how good your food is, you're only able to service so many people. And so you have to make the decision. Am I happy or content with the amount of people I'm able to help, or do I figure out a way to grow and scale up? And so that's what I did, right? What I did was I said, hey, I need help. So I hired one person, and they started helping like with admin and paperwork stuff I'm not really good at or don't want to do. Then I hired another buyer's agent. A buyer's agent, someone that says, hey, this is a buyer. They're approved for this. Go help them find a house. Once we find one, I'm going to negotiate repairs, help with financing, da, 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 da. And then it just kept growing and kept growing. So in 2020, I ended up hiring 3 new agents just because I had that big influx of people, where at one point I had 5 buyer's agents, 5 agents that are helping me with all of our buyers, while me and my admin, because it's a little bit different on the selling side, we're handling all of the sales side. I was handling all the clients who wanted to sell. My buyer's agents were handling the ones that wanted to buy.
Wow. So the people that you sell for, are they normally people that have bought before through you?
It's both. It's either going to be people that we've helped in the past that have, taken that chance to trust us again, and we appreciate it, or it's people that are referrals from others that maybe we help. They're like, hey, you got to talk to this guy. I'm also very lucky that I have a lot of people that refer me that I've never done business with, but I've answered a lot of their questions, and they've seen me online, and they're like, hey, you gotta go with this guy. He knows what he's talking about. I listen to him a lot, or I hear a lot of good things. And so I love the fact that people who've never actually done a transaction with us refer people as well. So most of them come from referrals or past clients.
Dude, that's what's up. So do you have to maintain any type of certifications as an agent?
Yes. So to be licensed to sell real estate in Texas, you have to get a Texas real estate license. It's a national and state test you got to take. And then after you do that, you become a realtor by paying dues to the board, they call it. Every city has a board of realtors where they handle all the rules and they give access to what a system's called MLS. And that system allows them to sell property here in Texas, like in Corpus, you're a national realtor, right? And so then after you get your license, you have to maintain it by doing continuing education. So continuing education is things that every 2 years you have to make sure that if there's any new courses, new laws, new rules, you're maintaining your license by doing continuing education and saying, hey, look, I get it. There's new laws out. I'm going to learn it. Kind of like electricians, for example. Electricians get codes. Man, those guys, like every couple of months, it seems like they get new codes. And so they have to make sure that they stick to these codes. So that way it passes all the city permits.
Yeah, for sure. So I was doing some research. So there's a difference between a realtor and a real estate agent?
Absolutely. So when you take your national test and your Texas test, you become a real estate agent and you're licensed to sell in Texas. But in order to have access to certain systems that are here in individual cities, like in Corpus Christi, there's a Corpus Christi board of realtors. And so you have to go and basically apply and say, hey, I want to be on y'all's board of realtors and have access to y'all's MLS, which is a system that people use to sell homes, put them on the market and make sure like, hey, this is the house I'm selling. There's other ways around it, but it makes it more convenient when you become an actual realtor. So realtor is just a title. It's the same thing. For example, I'm a Texas real estate agent, right? And I'm a licensed realtor in Corpus Christi. But if I go to San Antonio, I can help over there, but I'm not part of their board. And so in order to be a realtor in San Antonio, I would have to go apply on their board to become a San Antonio realtor.
Okay, it's like I guess to be like certified to sell over there or buy help people over there. Is that what you mean? Are you there?
Yeah. So again, I can write contracts all over Texas. I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm here. I promise. Dang it. Okay, I can write contracts all over Texas, but if someone in San Antonio said, hey, I want you to put my house on the market, I can only, as a Corpus licensed realtor, put their house on Zillow or Realtor.com or other sites that allow you to upload. But if I want to put it on their San Antonio MLS, I have to be part of their board and pay dues to the San Antonio board. Same thing with Dallas, Houston, Amarillo, wherever I'm at in Texas.
Wow, man, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah.
But long story short, a real estate agent and realtor are two in the same. It just depends on where they're getting their what board they're part of. Some people are boards of Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Corpus. They're just spending a lot more money per year being on these different boards. Maybe they sell a house here and there, or they have friends that give them referrals. For us, we primarily focus on the coastal bend, and for anybody else that's out of town, I don't want to do them a disservice by saying, yeah, I'll help you. And I'll help sell your house, but really I don't have access to the market. I don't have access to anything. It's in their best interest to, for me to hand it off. 1 second, bro.
Right.
Thank you, sir. I'll take all, whatever else. Thanks, bro. For me, it's just like, hey, I know that I can't really help someone as well in Houston or San Antonio, so I'm not going to be driving up on the weekends to show them houses or pretend like I know it just to do it. Unfortunately, there is a lot of realtors that, for example, here in Corpus, I'll see houses go on the market, I'll see who listed it, and it's some random San Antonio agent who's never even seen the house, who never comes down here, doesn't answer their phone, but put it on their market because maybe their broker had access to it. So it's kind of, it's like getting a personal trainer in a different city. It's like, well, I'm here, man. Like, come take care of me here. So I won't do it. I'll pass it off and get a referral fee and say, hey, look, I'm going to find you the Gino Montalvo in San Antonio, and they're going to be rock star and they're going to take care of you. I'm not going to pretend like I can be in 2 different cities at one time.
Right, man. So can an inexperienced agent like make you lose money on a buy as opposed to somebody that's experienced? Yes, really?
100%. So here, I'll tell you exactly why on both sides. If you're looking to buy a home and you're dealing with an agent, and this is just part of the game, and I've been there too, and I get it, and this is why I know. If you are an unexperienced agent, you are working deal to deal. You got bills you got to pay. You don't have any kind of backup funds or any kind of partner that's helping you out with things. You're just kind of, in all essence, desperate to get a deal. And you have a buyer who's looking to buy. You are going to think about your wallet. It's just natural human instinct more than you're going to think about, hey, am I servicing this client the best way possible? Am I taking care of them, making sure they're getting the best deal possible? And I'm making sure that, hey, if this house is a shit box, am I going to try to just keep pushing them through to the end because I need to get paid? Or am I going to tell them the honest truth? Hey guys, this house, we've asked for repairs. They're not making these things happen. And the seller is not agreeing to certain things that they should. And it's just going to end up costing y'all money. I think we're going to have to back out of this deal and we're going to have to continue looking at houses. If you have someone who doesn't have the experience or the financial stability to go, yeah, I'm not desperate to sell you a house. I need to make sure you're taken care of, because if I don't take care of you, you're going to talk bad about me and be like, oh man, they pushed me into this house and here I am. Because it's hard to tell a client, hey, we're going to look at more houses, because they're thinking, oh dang, now I got to go look at more houses and I got to show them more and it's going to waste more of my time. Not waste more time, take more of my time, because when you're in real estate, you only get paid when the deal closes. There's no paycheck coming at the end of the week because you showed Minerva Gertz 17 houses. You don't get paid per house you show. You get paid when and if a deal closes.
Right.
So those are some of the ways it's hard for a buyer's agent. For someone buying a home, and especially if it's a first-time home buyer, there's a lot of things they might miss as a new agent because they just haven't been through it over and over and over and over again.
Wow, that's crazy, bro. So is that whenever an agent does do that, is that like borderline messing with the housing act?
I mean, there's like you asked me a while ago, like, is there classes or things we need to do as agents to continue moving forward? I think it would fall like under the ethics category. Like, is it ethical for me to ignore all these red flags on this inspection report and let them go, hey, well, did you read it? Okay. Any questions? Oh, you're good? Okay, we're good. You know what I mean? Like, I could be a jerk. Like if I really wanted to get paid and someone was spending money on a home and getting inspections done and the inspection report came back and I just kind of sat back and go, I don't know, you look at it. They're not going to know what they're looking at. And if anything, they'll be like, I guess it looks fine. But if I'm desperate and I just don't care, because there's a lot of people just don't care sometimes, then they can not look at the inspection report and go, cool, you're all good to move forward? Let's move forward. When in reality, there's a ton of stuff wrong with it, but I didn't bring it up and I didn't try to negotiate because I didn't want to kill the deal, because I didn't want to not get paid in a couple of weeks, and I didn't want to have to go back out there and look at more houses. It's a really crappy situation that it takes a while for most agents to get to a point where it's like, hey, I'm cool, let's do it. But also that's the reason why I created a team, so I make sure that everyone's taken care of in a way where if it was just me, I wouldn't physically be able to do it.
Right. Wow. That's good, man. So how do you help somebody sell? That's all. You good, man? You good?
I'm listening. How do I help somebody? What?
How do you help someone sell or buy a home in a competitive market?
So there's two terms that I'm sure a lot of people hear, right? And there's a seller's market and a buyer's market. And so for right now, for the longest time here in Corpus, we've been in what we call a seller's market. And what that means is there is more buyers than there is sellers. And so competition to buy homes is really, really tough depending on the market, depending on the house. And so for sellers right now, I'll give you an example. If you live in Corpus and you live in 784-1314 or even 12 or 15, chances are if you're looking to sell a home and it's in that parameters and it's newer, it's less than 10 years old, it'll probably sell the first day. And so it's easy for sellers right now to sell a home and make sure they're getting like the best deal possible. It's a little harder right now for buyers in a seller's market to be able to get a home, because that home that goes up, there's probably about 15, 20 other people that might be going for it just like you, who are in the same price range, want the same thing. Just deposit. And they're all looking for it. So that's a seller's market. Yes, ma'am. And so then there's a buyer's market, which we haven't been in a long time. You don't really want to be in a buyer's market. Here's why. Buyer's market hurts. It hurts the sellers and it hurts buyers, because you're buying properties under, when you're selling a property under value. It's like a crash, right? And so it hasn't been a buyer's market in a really, really long time. I would say maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we were kind of leveled out. Right now, for the last 2 years, since 2020 happened, 2020 really put the market in a weird place. And here's why. In 2020, whenever the Fed, which is the federal government, they decided, hey, Federal Reserve, sorry, they decided we're going to drop interest rates. We don't want people to stop borrowing money. And right now, a lot of people are scared. So we're going to drop rates and they're going to be really, really low. So in 2020, interest rates went from like high fours down to like low twos, which is awesome for buyers because they get a lower interest rate and it's cheaper to borrow money, essentially. If it's cheaper to borrow money, people are like, let's go. The same house that might cost $300,000 is going to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars less per month because of interest rates, and over the life of the loan, tens of thousands of dollars cheaper. So yeah, people are jumping on it. We had more buyers in 2020 than we had ever had before. That's why I hired 3 buyers agents, because interest rates were so low and it was cheap to borrow money. Everyone's like, I'll buy. And it killed all the inventory. And not only were sellers who were maybe upgrading not able to keep up because they didn't have anywhere to go, but builders who were building homes weren't able to keep up with the demand either. And because they weren't able to keep up with the demand, lumber prices shot through the roof because lumber yards are like, wait a minute, y'all need how much? We only have this. Guess what? We're gonna have to see who gets this. Now the prices are up. Now they're this much.
Wow.
On top of, there was like a hurricane, I think it was Rita. It took out a lumber yard in Louisiana, and that messed up a whole bunch of stuff too. So all these little things that are happening are always what's changing the market, going up and down, up and down, up and down. As of now, the last couple of months or the last month, interest rates have started to go back up because the government said, oh, remember all that money we printed out in 2020? Well, inflation is like through the roof because we printed so much money. So now everything costs more: gas, groceries, vacations, flying. Dude, jalapeno poppers, they cost more. Like, it's like, what? Why are these? Why they used to cost $8-9? Why are they $70 now?
Tacos are $4 now.
Yes, bro. And for people that aren't raising prices, they're like, no, our prices didn't go up. But for the general public, they are. And so right now, to kind of sum up what I'm trying to say is, it's not hard to buy a house, but like we talked about a while ago, it's going to favor the people who have been saving money, the people that have been getting their credit right. Thank you. The people have been getting everything they needed to get ready. They're the ones that are going to benefit from it. The people that have been making excuses for last year, 2, 3, 4, 7 years, they're the ones that aren't going to benefit. But you know what? Like anything else in life, they're the loudest ones. They're the ones complaining. They're the ones shouting from the rooftop, the market sucks. Don't even think about it, because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, when everyone else who did, who saved, who worked hard, just move it in silence. They're the ones that are taking advantage and going, okay, cool, I saved up. I got 15 grand in the bank. For some people, the idea of that's like, what? How? There's no way possible. Da, 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 da. And those are the loudest ones. Those are the ones leaving comments on my post that are pissed off because they didn't do all the things the other people did. They just sat around and made excuses. And it sucks, but I can say it because I've been there too. I remember being younger and seeing people on Facebook taking vacations. I'm like, must be nice. I used to be a must be nicer. You know what a must be nicer is? People, when you get a new car, must be nice. People, when you go on a family trip, must be nice. People, when you go out and have a good dinner and you treat yourself, oh, must be nice. Well, you don't have da da da. No, they do. Everyone that's in people's, like, in other words, you can show me anybody that's complaining, and I can show you someone in the same position that has got past it and said, nope, because that's the kind of thing I get to see in this world. People, I get to see inside their home, literally. I get to see people's lives, and not everyone's what you think it is. Not everyone's living the highlight reel that we have on Facebook. A lot of people, or social media, a lot of people, you know, have a lot of demons going on they're dealing with, and a lot of stuff they got to get through. But the ones that do get through it are the ones that keep pushing forward, that keep moving up, that keep doing big things. It's the ones that don't deal with it and ignore the problem, who are the ones that are just going to keep complaining.
So wow, man, that's really good. Do you think that you think there's gonna be another crash like 2008?
Not in the way people think, and I'll tell you why. So in 2007, 2008, that housing crisis was caused because lenders were just giving money to everybody. Everybody was approved. Didn't matter who you were, me included. I bought a house in 2007, and I should have not have been approved for a house back then. But because the way they were having everything set up, they were able to just pass the buck. And when I say pass the buck, that means that, hey, I'm going to approve you for a home loan. Cool. You shouldn't get approved, but I'm going to approve you, and then I'm going to sell off that loan to another investor who's going to keep pushing it down the line. And it's going to have this big bucket of shitty loans. And so there's a guy named Michael Burry. Have you ever seen the movie called I can't think of that movie. The one with Brad
The
Pitt
the
and
Big Short.
Big Short. Sorry, I don't know why it escaped me. That movie is about the housing crisis, and Michael Burry is the one that looked. He's a freaking maniac. He's the one that
Yeah.
looked through all the data and saw, hey, there's a lot of people that are signing up for these loans, and it's going to cause a crash. The reason being, they can afford these loans. The way they were affording these loans were they had them on an ARM loan. An ARM loan is an adjustable rate mortgage, and what that means is, hey, I'm going to approve you for this $300,000 house. The payments the first year, 2 years, whatever you signed up for, they're only going to be this much. You're like, hell yeah. But after a certain point, their payment's going to go up to this, like a balloon note is what it's called, right? And people are
Oh
like,
wow.
whatever, I'm getting a house. And so if you watch that movie, that's why the stripper was able to get 2 houses. That's why the guy's like, yeah, my dog got a loan, because they were
Yeah.
giving loans to everybody. And then people weren't able to pay them, foreclosures through the roof. And no, everyone just said bye. It was the first time in history that's ever happened, because it was the first time in history that there was just too much money out there, and that's what caused recession. Now, the reason why it's different is the regulations that have been placed since then. The regulations that have been placed since then are what's created the healthy market that we are in now. Despite what happened in 2020 with the pandemic and the interest rates the way they are, that just hurt the supply and demand. It didn't hurt the market, because the loans that are out right now are good loans with qualified applicants and good, strong jobs, not like before where it was just a ton of bad loans. And so that's why, if you didn't know this, the reason why Bitcoin was created was because of the recession. And so right now, people that are getting into digital currencies and cryptocurrencies, that all started. The person who created Bitcoin created it because of the 2008 recession and said, hey, we need to figure out a way to be smarter with money. And we have this new thing, it's called the internet. We can have peer-to-peer income and money and currency going back and forth. And that just started a whole other thing where people don't even realize what it's going to do to the world, to the United States, to mortgages, to just money in general. It's going to change everything. So it's almost kind of like bittersweet that it happened, but it also created something now where we have a healthier market, and we have this new thing like the internet that's soon to change the world. That's what I
Wow,
think.
bro. Man. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that crash. If I had a bunch of money at that time, like 2008, I would have been buying property, bro. Like
You know
for
who had
real.
a bunch of
Because
money at that time and bought a shitload of property?
who's that?
My cousin. That guy
No,
was
dude, that's
hustling
awesome, bro.
from the age of 16, 18. He cleaned up. And I'm only saying that not to put him in a spot, but to let
Mm-hmm.
people know, because I hear people say this all the time. And here's why. And I had someone on my
Mm-hmm.
Facebook say this. She said, I can't wait till this bubble bursts. That way I can buy a house. It's so hard for a single
Oh.
mom right now. And I told her, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're thinking. However, in the event of a market crash, it is not going to be the single mom on a single income who is going to be the one that benefits. The one that's going to benefit is the millionaire, billionaires, hedge funds, BlackRock, all these huge companies who know, hey, real estate's a smart investment. Oh, there's 100 foreclosures in Corpus Christi. Oh, there's below market value. They're going to sweep up the floor buying property in cash, and that single mom on a single income is not going to be the one that's going to benefit. And so a lot of people that say, oh, I wish the market would crash so I can buy a house, that's not the way it works. It's almost like saying, hey, I wish there's a super sale at Dillard's so I can go in and buy everything. No, guess what? The super sale happens and you got, I don't know, Kohl's, or just name some other department store. You're going to go clean up. That's what happens to big corporations. Like, there's
Oh.
all these big corporations that go out of business, and what happens is it's not the consumer who benefits, it's the other big businesses who go, I'm going to buy them up, and they go and they buy them up. That's the same
Because
thing with housing.
they have the money. They also have the money to do it.
Yeah, they have tons of money. Like, people have so much money that they just sit on. It's invested in market, it's invested in real estate, it's invested in so many different things. Money is a weird thing to understand because it's all over everywhere and it's just moved around. That's all money is. It's just a fake thing that people move around, and we work for it and we give it to somebody else and we move it around. And it might be not as much as millions of dollars, but $100 here, $1,000 here. It just gets moved around all the time. It's always there. And right now there is more money in the world than there's ever been, which is a weird thing to think about. There is more money right now in circulation there's ever been in the history of the world.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's everywhere, and like sometimes I don't like when people are like, it's not about money, but you need money. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
like you know how to yeah. What do you think about that?
So there's, how do you say it? For me, when you hear people say that when you're younger or you don't have any, and people are like, "Oh, it's not about money." It's like, yeah, it is, because I don't got any. It's always people that have it that say that, right? It's like, what? It's always people that are beautiful. They're like, "Oh, it's in the inside of the account." It's like, yeah, because you're beautiful. Like, I'm ugly, or hey, money doesn't make you happy. But in reality, there is points in people's lives that they'll realize you get a certain amount of money and it might not make you happy. It just makes you more of what you are. And so if you're a sad or depressed person or anxious, stressed person, money might just make you more of that. However, if you realize and focus on the most important things, which is like health, which is family and friends and just being generally happy and finding that balance of, all right, I'm making enough money to be comfortable and everyone around is comfortable, I'm good. There's not a dollar amount, because I think about it sometimes whenever I have clients. I have one today. This guy said he's going to sell his house on the island here in Corpus and he's going to move to Costa Rica. And I'm like, dude, could I do that? Could I just move the kids and my wife to Costa Rica? Because I've been to Costa Rica. It's an awesome place. And there's breweries everywhere. And pura vida is the term that they all use. It's just like happy life, pure life. And they're just living, man. And it's living on the beach, a very simple life that if you are someone that's like, yeah, I think I can do that, by all means, go for it. One day, maybe. But right now, I still got a lot of goals that I want to do. And so, yeah, for people that say, oh, money can buy you happiness, or, oh, it's not about money, it isn't. It's about freedom. I think everybody wants to have a certain amount of freedom. And for everybody, that freedom costs different price.
Wow, man. So, wow, that's crazy. So, man, there's a lot of ways I could go with this conversation. That's crazy, man.
Go ahead. I told you to
Yeah,
talk all
so
day, bro. I used to get paid. I used to get paid.
so yeah, man. So, because it's like, because some people could be watching and looking in, right? And they're like, well, how do I get there? Uh, do I have to have a rich cousin, or do I have to have
Sure.
inherited money? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
And I feel like it if nobody passed it down to us, we got to work hard to get there.
There's
You know what I'm
a
saying?
quote. It's like, if you're not born rich, it's not your fault. But if you, what is it? I'm messing it up, man.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not born rich, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it is. And I think that can go and probably upset a lot of people. But in reality, what I think it's trying to say is that, hey, look, if you didn't have a lot of money being passed down, that's fine. You know, there's a lot of people out there who have created something themselves. And a lot of them, if you look at people's stories, if you look at celebrities, if you look at billionaires, if you look at people that have really killed it, that are self-made, they all had adversity. They all had a really shitty upbringing. If you look at like The Rock, right? The Rock's a real big one. He talks about like $7 production company. He had $7 in his pocket and he was like wrestling. He had nowhere to go. You look at all these different people who, Jeff Bezos, who has like an office in his little bitty room and a garage, and he's trying to make this thing. He's, sacrificing a lot of his younger years and time to do these things. And that's really what it comes down to. The people that have the things that other people want either got it two ways. One, it was given to them, and that's, hey, I don't have that. Or two, they sacrificed something. Maybe it was their youth, maybe it was their time, maybe it was relationships, friendships, maybe it was that instant gratification of going out on the weekends, maybe it was whatever it was. They sacrificed something to get there, but we don't see that. It's like athletes. We don't see, LeBron training. We don't see Beyonce,
Right.
singing her whole childhood. She sacrificed her childhood. All we see is the end result and the Grammys and the awards and the spotlight. But everybody who's great sacrificed something. You just don't always see it. And so for me, I think back of times where I was staying up all night studying, or I think times where I'm like in the hallway on a family vacation because I'm dealing with a deal. And I think back to all these different things where I'm like, a normal person wouldn't have done that. And at the time, it didn't feel normal to me. And it feels normal now. I realize, oh, those are the sacrifices I was giving when I was younger. Not being able to spend time with my dad when he was on his deathbed because I was too busy, and he's like, don't worry about it. Those are things that I sacrifice, that I deal with, that from, again, most people that are successful, they sacrifice something to get there. It wasn't just given to them if they're self-made. And if it was given to them, then that's not who you need to look at. You can't go, well, how do I get a rich dad? You don't. That's not the path you need to take. You need to figure out, what can I sacrifice? And even just buying a home. I tell people, hey, they're like, I can't save any money. It's like, no, you can. You just got to figure out what you're going to sacrifice. You got to figure out what you're going to do to earn a little more. But if you don't change anything, then nothing's going to change.
Can I get a house without a credit score?
No.
Why so?
If you have cash, you can buy one cash.
So,
but if you're using a bank to buy a home, in other words, you're going to a mortgage lender or Navy, Army, or a credit union, whoever you're using. If you're going to someone and you're saying, "Hey, I need to borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars," the first thing they're going to go is, "Okay, are you good at paying people back?" Can you hear me? No. Yes.
Yeah, I hear you now.
My back. Going to someone and saying, "Hey, can I borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars?" Like I said, they're going to say, "Hey, sure. How good are you at paying people back?" That's all your credit score is. Everyone's credit score is just a report on how good they are at paying people back. How many times did they borrow money and then paid it back on time? So when you go and you borrow money, if you don't have a credit score or a decent credit score, you're telling the bank, I've never borrowed money or paid it back before, or two, I have borrowed money, but I wasn't really good at paying it back. That's all a credit score is if you want to really break it down to simple terms that people are like, oh, my credit sucks. It's like, okay, well, why does it suck? What did you do? Oh, I didn't pay this back. It's like, well, there you go. So how do you expect to go and borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars from someone when you're not good at paying people back? It's like it's like us being in a neighborhood, right? And I'm the neighborhood guy that's got a lot of cash. And you come up to me like, hey, Gino, I need to borrow $50. I'm like, no, Stacy and Karen and Maria over there said you're not good at paying people back, so I'm not going to. But if you are, and I can go back to them and go, hey, he borrowed money from me and paid it back? Oh, he did? Cool. I'll let you borrow money. It's that simple.
So do you know any lenders that do like manual underwriting?
So yeah, there is. Okay, so think of it this way: there is people that can do manual underwriting. There is people that can approve you for certain types of loans off a paycheck. But think of it the same way as I need to go buy a TV. I can go to Best Buy and I can get approved for a credit card, and I can get 12 months no interest. Or if my credit isn't where it needs to be, or my credit is bad, or et cetera, I can go to, and I don't know if they're around anymore, but I can go to like Flexi Compass, which used to be a place where you could go and you can buy a TV and it'd be like 25% interest, right? And so at that interest rate, it's like, damn, how much am I really paying for this TV after it's all said and done? Same concept with a house. You can go and borrow money from someone that is used to and preys on giving and borrowing, letting people borrow money at really, really high interest rates because they're hopeful. This is the honest truth. They're hopeful you don't pay it. They're hopeful that they can take advantage of the fact that you want it and you're going to pay a really high interest. And then when you default on it, be it a car or the TV or the house, then they're going to, take your money, take your down payment, and then they're going to pass it on to the next person who wants to do the same thing. So I would say it's in your best interest or anybody's best interest in that situation to figure out, talk to a lender, talk to a professional and go, hey, I don't want to, be paying all interest on this. How do I get myself to where I need to be? How much time is going to take? What do I need to do?
So it is because I want to go the route, well, because I don't have any debt. I don't have a credit score.
Okay.
I don't borrow money. I just don't.
When you say you don't
money.
have a credit score, like you
Well,
don't
it's
have
like
history?
it's undeterminable. No, well, I do have credit history, but I paid everything off to where my score is going to be undeterminable.
Well, in that case, you would have to do certain things like getting a secured credit card. And credit isn't a bad thing. When you abuse credit and you overextend yourself, that's a bad thing. But if you go and you get yourself a gas card, because you got to get gas, and you apply for that credit card and you use that every month and you pay it off every month just for gas, it starts to build up your credit score. Something like that, getting a secured credit card and using it every time you buy groceries, because you were going to buy those groceries anyway, but use the credit card, pay it off every single month. Things like that, where you're spending the money anyways, you should be using credit if you don't have established credit until you get to a point where your numbers get up there, then you have that history. That makes sense? So you don't have to always do it that way. But if you're in a spot where, hey, I don't have any credit history because I don't have any credit cards, there's nothing wrong with not having credit cards. I don't have any credit cards. I have one. I have one credit card I paid off every month, and it's an American Express. But like I mentioned earlier, I've been where I had 30-something plus credit cards because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. Really, I was just like, I'm going to pay a nickel on that one and a nickel on that one. And I can keep buying more and more stuff. But if
Yeah.
you're in your situation, I would say, hey, I can get you with the right people. I can get anybody the right people to teach them and show them, hey, look, here's what we're going to do for the next 3 to 6 months. And this is what's going to build your credit score, because we need to show the banks that you're good at borrowing and paying people back. It's that simple.
Right on, right on. Okay, cool, man. Cool. Yeah, I disagree. I mean, is that okay?
You
Can I
disagree?
disagree?
Sure.
Yes.
But I want people to disagree.
Because,
But
well,
go ahead.
because the reason I disagree, well, I mean, a lot of people do that route, which is, I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not hating on anybody. Go ahead if that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that I believe in like manual underwriting, like where you can manual underwrite without a credit score. I'm not saying that the credit score will be the determining factor, but say I have like my credit score is 0. Lee, I've never borrowed money. I save like, I don't know, $20,000, whatever. And, if I want to buy a house, it's like, I don't know, 120,000 or whatever. I don't know. I think that I could, because I found a place called Churchill Mortgage online, and they do like manual underwriting or whatever. And I want to be able to do it that way. That's why when I was asking you, you're like, no, you can't. You said no, that you can't get one without a credit score. It was like, why? You know what I mean?
Said you can do it, but I compared it to like Flexi Compress, like a high interest car lot. Your paycheck is your credit score. Those kind of places.
Is it more difficult that way? So would you say that it's more difficult to get it the route that I'm trying to go?
I would say it's taking a shortcut to get to a goal that if you do it the right way, it's going to take longer. And it might be sacrificed for a lot longer. And over the long run, it'll end up paying for itself. Think of it this way. You're paying that really high interest rate. And so month to month to month, your hard money that you're working for is not going towards the principal or the balance of the home. It's going to that bank who's charging a really high interest because they took a chance on you. And by all means, they might take a chance on you and you could pay it forever. But they're the ones benefiting, not you. Right.
So if it was going that route, they would charge me a higher interest rate because I'm more of a risk. Okay.
That's all it comes down to. It's not because I want people to take a long time. Think of it this way. I sell homes and I'm trying not to sell you a home. I'm telling you, hey, I think you should wait. And I think you should do it the right way because it's only going to benefit you in the long run in 2 ways. 1, lower interest rate. 2, lower monthly payment. 3, whenever you're making that payment towards your home's appreciating. And over time, if you're only paying interest, then you're doing yourself a disfavor by paying the higher interest rate, because 3 or 5 years down the line, when you want to sell, you could have had so much more equity built up if you would have set yourself up right from the beginning. You're eating all that hard-earned equity that you're going to make. It's all going to go to somebody else that took the time to get their credit where it needs to be and get the interest rate where they wanted it, and not say, hey, I don't want to deal with that. I want to go this route, which is possible. You can do that like anything else, but it's only going to do yourself a disservice.
Right. Yeah. So how do you set like realistic expectations for your clients? Like, so I know some clients, they want like, oh, I want this house on this neighborhood or whatever, but they can't. Yeah.
That's why I always get people with a lender first. And for a lot of people, it's scary. And a lot of people are like, oh, you don't want to work with me if I can't get approved. It's not that. But like anything else, I want people to know their reality. It's like me, right? Say I never looked at my credit. I never looked at my income. I never looked at my bank accounts. And I walk into a Lamborghini dealership and I'm like, I want a Lambo. And what do you think they're going to tell me? They're like, well, okay, let's look at the numbers. And then they're going to go, oh, you can't afford this. You don't make enough money, Gino. I'm like, damn. I really felt like I did and I wanted it. It doesn't matter how much you want it. Numbers are numbers are numbers. It's the same thing with real estate. I know sometimes people, and here's how I do it to answer your question. I know sometimes people want that dream home right off the bat. A lot of that goes back to culture. They're thinking, I'm going to be here for the next 30 years. It better be a slam dunk. It better be a home run on that first time out, because I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to live here forever. But you can't think that way. For real estate, if you see people in the big houses, unless were handed down money, people don't start in the big houses. Okay. They start in the little ones and they build themselves up over time. They build equity and they roll it onto the next one. They build equity and they roll it onto the next one. They might be that big house that people are in could be their fourth or fifth house. And the way they got there was they built wealth. That's what you asked me a while ago. How do you build wealth?
Mm-hmm.
They built wealth over time by starting early and realizing, hey, what can I spend my money on right now that in the next couple of years is going to be able to return? I'm going to be able to get a return on this. And so if you're
Right.
not doing it that way, it's going to be, it's going to be a reality check when I say, hey, let's start numbers. And you go, oh, you're only approved for this much. You can't get that $500,000 house. It's like, oh, damn, I
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to though. It's like, okay, well then one day, but right now we got to start at this house. We got to start at what's a comfortable
Wow.
number for you. So that way you're not going house poor.
Wow, man, that's got to be a reality check for like people,
It is
man.
a reality check. I tell people all the time, I said, when you go get approved for home loan, it is a reality check on one, what you actually make, what your income is, two, what you're spending your money on. Because I've had people where they say exactly this. Hey, well, I got approved and I got approved for this much, but my coworker, I know he makes the same amount as me. I know he doesn't make that much more than me or more. How does he live in X neighborhood? Well, one, you don't know that guy's situation. You don't know how much he put down. You know how much he saved. You don't know if he has a partner that's on the loan as well. You don't know what he's got in debt. You don't know anything about that person. You just know he bought that house that's in a certain neighborhood at a certain price. Now you're being told you can't, and you're trying to figure it out. You're like, why can't I? Well, what's going on with you? That's what we got to figure out. We got to figure out where you stand.
Right on, man. Golly, and it goes back to like you have to start small, start slow, and
Yep.
eventually it grows and grows. And
People
it's
want the instant gratification, and in life,
yes.
the things that are the greatest in life aren't. They're not. There's you can't. A lot of these things people think like of the lottery. It's like I'm just going to get
Mm-hmm.
really lucky one time, maybe. But for everybody else that has these awesome things that you want, it took a long time to get there. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
overnight. You just didn't see it.
Yes. Yeah, for sure, man. I think we need. I think we need that. We need that. We need to understand that and get it in our heads so that way we can be, prosperous. I
It is.
guess you can say.
It is one of the toughest things to grasp and to accept, especially the last couple of decades with social media the way it is. Before,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't see who was buying what or doing what or going where or with who.
Right.
You didn't see any of it. So it was out of sight, out of mind. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
constantly in front of people where
Mm-hmm.
it's really easy to judge yourself or just be hard on yourself and go, oh man, I'm not where I want to be. And look at so and so I went to school with, or look at da 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 da. Look what they're doing. Look what, oh man. And it's really, it's a double-edged sword. It's nice because it can be used as motivation, but it's
Mm-hmm.
difficult because it can also push people down if they're thinking, hey, I'm not where I want to be. Damn it, I'm just gonna give up.
All right, let me give you two off the wall, just weird questions before we go. Um, what's your favorite cheap meal that you always love, no matter how much money you make?
Oh man, probably Winter Central.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
oh man, some chili cheese fry. I don't know what the hell that chili is, bro. I know it comes out of a big can. I don't want to see it, but some chili cheese fries with a chili cheese burger and a corn dog and a root beer from the, like I'm literally right here on Staples. I can see it.
Yeah.
I think that's because when I was little, my mom would always tell stories when her and her brothers would go out. They would always come home with just a big box of hot dogs. So that or
Wow.
like late night like Whataburger stuff like that.
That's what's up. Yeah, so I used to work in Wiener Schnitzel. They would make a bunch. We would make a
Hell
bunch
yeah.
of patties.
I don't
We
know.
would
I
make
don't
a
know. I
bunch
don't
of.
know. I don't know.
We
I
would
don't
make a
know.
bunch of patties. You don't want to know? Okay.
I
Okay.
don't
No,
know.
I was gonna tell you
I
how
don't think
how we
anybody
make
wants
the
to know.
chili. I was
I
gonna
don't
tell you how
know.
you make the chili. Okay, you want to? Okay, okay.
I don't know. No, you want
What's
to know.
let me see. Let me see. Would you rather break your nose or get a poison ivy rash all over your body?
Are you asking that because I have a big old pimple on my nose right now?
Nah, it's just a random question before we take off.
I've never had poison ivy, so I can't say I would be okay with it.
Mhm.
But a broken nose seems like it can mess up my face, and I like my face, so I'll go with the poison ivy.
Right on. Okay, one more, one more.
Go ahead.
What's the worst advice you've ever received? Or if you don't like that one, we can get a different one.
No, I do. Let me think. Is it business advice or just in general?
Whatever. Just in general, whatever comes to
Uh,
mind.
Probably that you're never gonna make it. You'll be back. You'll be back soon. That's it.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, man. Hey, Gino, man, I appreciate you coming on, bro.
I
We got
appreciate you, sir. I need to get one of those hoodies whenever he gets some new ones, and I'll take some of the new shirts.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, we'll trade some. Oh, so you wear a 2X?
Yeah, whatever y'all
Yeah,
got in stock, send me a link and I'll hook you up because you got some cool stuff, man.
Cool, man. Yeah, we'll trade some stuff too. I gotta get one of your shirts. I like your stuff is live, man. I like how
thanks,
you're.
Man. This is
yeah.
Someone saw this the other day because I wore it for Easter and my kids had one too. They're like, that's like Thrasher. They're like, oh yeah. I couldn't think of what it was. I'm like, I love doing that. Like I love there's brands I love like Stussy and Thrasher and just different things over time that I've like they're nostalgic to me, and I'll go and remake it somehow with my own branding on it because I'm like it's the same thing but it's me and it just makes it nice. I got to support my own brand.
Yeah, bro, that's what's up, man. That's cool, man. Yeah, my kids are my kids, and my wife came in, so I got to do some husband honey do's right now. So
you got to
appreciate
the parking lot at the office. I'm glad we got to catch each other, and we'll talk very soon. I'm gonna run inside and handle some things. If anybody ever needs me, if you ever need anything, I'm an open book. Give me a call.
So you got where can we find where can you get some info?
That right there, that one you just put, that this is Gino.com. That is everything. That is a link to all my social media, to all my listings, to all my downloads, anything you need real estate related, or just want to watch some dumb videos of me with a dog. That is a link right there.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, appreciate you, Gino. Have a good day, man.
Yes, sir. Have a great week, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, y'all. That was Gino Montalvo. Check out I'll leave his information in the description below. If you want to hit him up, he's a real estate agent for buyers and sellers. And check him out. I'll leave his link in the description. And if you want to support this podcast, check out our merch at Corpus Christi Originals.com.